Now, the first step that we do, the first move that we do in the rocking motion is you sink into your right foot. So you take up more weight. You can see I kind of come across on top of the right foot, and my left foot, I start to kind of get a little bit of a lift in it. I'm coming up onto the ball of my foot, and then I just step out just slightly so that I'm underneath both of my hips. So it's pretty much straight up and down. And there's still not as much of an outward turnedness in my feet, but just slightly. So there's a little bit of that kind of angle coming out. And the motion is going to be this way. I'm going to go back on my heels, and you can see my knees straighten up a little bit as I go back on my heels. Not enough to unbalance you, just a lightening on the balls of your feet, perhaps a slight lifting of your toes. And you'll get just a little bit of, as you come back, there's kind of a slight engagement with your lower back, but basically there's kind of lengthening through here still. Then as I go forward, I'm going to take my weight and go forward onto the balls of my feet. But as I go through the middle of this motion, you can see I'm bending a little bit. As I get onto the balls of my feet, I'm feeling a slight lifting of weight on my heels. They don't even have to leave the ground, or as if a credit card could be slipped underneath them. But I straighten my knees a little bit again. So this has really got much more of an arch as I come forward onto the balls of my feet. So then I just go back, slight lift of the toes, straightening of my knees, slight flexing, straightening as I come up, and just back and forth like that. And it's just a very simple and easy movement. Always do less. If you feel like you're straining, then you're working too hard. Just like that. Okay, and just to feel how your pelvis does a little bit of a rocking back and forth, tilting back and forth as your lower back is affected. And this is going to gently massage your pelvis and your back. All of these movements have that tendency to have that effect. So in Tai Chi, the sense of where the movement's coming from is from what was sometimes called the Dan Chen, so just below, between your belly button and your pelvis, your pubic bone. And so there's the movement comes from here, moving softly back and forth, and with a sense of the weight transfer across the soles of your feet. So back we go to the basic stance. I'm stepping in, or weight transfer into my right foot. My left foot comes out a bit. I just slightly straighten out my feet so I'm just a little bit more comfortable on top of them. And then that rocking motion back and forth is just going to go like this. And at the same time, my upper body is going to come from that resting position, and it's going to come back just behind my pelvis. You can see I'm just gently pushing back, and I'm going to turn sideways so you can see what I'm doing as I come gently back. Just as I get here, sort of slightly behind my hip bones, I turn with my palms and I start engaging forward again. And as I come forward and up, I start with my elbows fairly bent, and then I'm just gently reaching out until I come to just below the collarbone, somewhere in that sort of upper chest area, not too high, and then I turn again and come down. And you can see I'm not like stretched straight out, but just very gently moving back and forth with straightening the back and coming up and turning at the end of both of these, and trying to get a bit of a feel as if you're pushing through heavy air. The air that is kind of heavy, we're at the bottom of an ocean of air, so there is something there, we're just not used to the feel of it pushing against us. Let's say you've got your hand outside a car window or something, it's got that kind of feel of just a gentle wind that you're pushing into. So that's the basic movement. And so if you come back this way, start from your beginning position, then as you go back, you're going back on your heels, slight straightening of your knees, coming forward, slightly flex with your knees, up onto the balls of your feet, just a little bit, and turning and coming back down. So that's the whole movement, and we do that 9 times. So let's all try that together. So dropping back onto your heels, slight lifting of your toes, turning, finding that heavy air onto the balls of your feet. And then just start looking for where you can find the ease in this movement. As I was saying before, less is more. And you'll see, watch my hands, they go just beside my hips, but as I come up in the center, they turn kind of in front of my shoulder joint, so slightly inward. And 3. And so now we have a chance with these 9 times that we go through these movements that you can just give yourself a chance to drop into the movement. Notice if you're stopping your breathing. Look for the places where the movement just gently pushes into your tension patterns. And don't go too far, just kind of gently nuzzle or massage with your movements into the edge of your tension patterns, and then ease back out again. And I'll call this 8. We'll go back one more time. Now here's how we finish. As you come back up on the 9th time, I'm going to go my weight back onto this right foot. My left foot is going to come up and back in. I just come back with my hands into that gentle resting position. Let me show that to you again. So you're coming on the 9th time. As you come through about here, your weight goes onto the ball, onto the full of your foot, and your left foot comes up so that there's a bit of a lifting of your foot and your torso as you come up with your hands, and then down into the resting position. Just like that. And we just wait here. It doesn't take long, about 6 seconds or so, where you can just kind of drop into this, and you'll feel there's a certain point where you've been holding it, and then you feel perhaps that your body just goes through an extra level of relaxation. So that's the basic first move, is the rocking motion. And this one is just something that you can do anywhere and is really easy to do. I think I've showed before how you can even do it in a chair. So in this case, you would be sitting in the chair. This is really great if a person sprained their ankle, or if you've got an elderly family member or friend, and you can just take this movement, the same kind of movement, coming behind your pelvis and up to your shoulders and down again. And it's actually a really wonderful way. I'll do this every once in a while just to check, give myself a sense of how much my pelvis is really rolling back and forth, because of course in the chair, that's where really the focus of the movement is happening. Just to kind of do this kind of motion as you go back and forth. And once again, about 9 times. So you won't get the same kind of weight transfer through your feet, but you certainly get everything from the pelvis and up into your upper body.